Hi guys, and welcome back to the Frazzled Sociologist. As you'll have seen across the rest of the channel, I have been slowly working my way through a selection of the questions that may come up in your end of year exam. But a couple of you have asked me how, besides just listening, should you be using these videos for your revision? Now let me stress to you, listening is better than nothing. If you are feeling really, really burnt out and you are struggling, just listening to some topic videos or just listening to me breaking down some questions is better than nothing. This will help, even if it doesn't feel like it to you, even if it doesn't feel like proper revision in a way that's better. Please, even if you're feeling super burnt out, just stick one of these on and just have a listen for me. Having said that, some of the ways you could use these videos. Printing your own. So, I suggest you print your own questions, the questions that I am breaking down for you in front of you. I always write the title at the top from which paper they're from, okay? I suggest if you're quite new to breaking down the question or you're not super confident with it, that you print your own and follow along doing the same thing I'm doing on your own version. It's really good if you're really fresh to it, if you're not super confident about what you should be pulling out or what kind of things you should be writing down in terms of content or anything like that. It's really good in terms of like a structural video, like how do I actually do this? If you're quite new to this, if you're a year one in particular, that is how I suggest you start. Something else you could do is use this as planning for practice questions. Okay, if at any given moment you're not necessarily practicing your content recall knowledge or your sociologists or key terms or anything like that, and you're just practicing writing to time, I suggest you use some of my breaking down the questions as like your planning stage, and then you go away and you have a go at writing that practice question. And if I actually teach you, by all means bring it to me, let me read it, let me mark it for you. I suggest this is like a quick way of doing that, quick way to churn out a number of practice questions that really would help you focus on writing to time, as opposed to over focusing on what you're writing, how you're writing it, etc. I also suggest you test yourself. So it might be worth printing your own versions of the questions. Then before you actually watch the rest of the video, having a go yourself at breaking down the question, and then watching my video to check whether you have pulled out all the relevant information, whether you've missed anything, whether you've pulled anything I didn't, for example, and just generally seeing how your version of breaking down the question is reflected against mine. That is a really, really useful technique when you are still getting used to your content as well, because it will not only help you pull out and practice pulling out what you need to be doing for each question in the command words, but also the kind of things you should have been answering content-wise for each question as well. So that one is really, really important. I really do suggest you do that. Similarly then, it's also really good structure revision, because in each video I tend to talk through which of the structures you should be using, whether it's PE times 4 or times 6, whether it's Peel or whether it's Peevel. Okay, I do tend to go through that as well. That's really good structure revision for you. It's really repetitive, don't get me wrong, I completely appreciate that, but if something is repetitive, it's sinking in. If you're thinking to yourself, you know what, I've heard this like 1,000 times, I know this, then great, it means you know it, and that's all I'm actually bothered about. And obviously, like I mentioned over here, it's also quite good content revision. Okay, if you are not pulling out the same information that I am, or if not more information than I am, then you need to be focusing on your revision. Realistically, you should be looking at these videos, going along and thinking, oh, she's talking about this individual, she's talking about that perspective. That is how this should be working. You should actually be pulling more information than I am. And if you're not, then you need to be really, really specifically looking at your revision and the really specific key people, key details, key words, key information. Okay, so there's some suggestions as to how you could use these videos. Please, again though guys, don't underestimate. Listening is better than nothing. All right, I hope that helps your revision. Let me know how it goes.